This is the countdown to another live stream. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Keefe. Let me fix that camera for a second. It's your boy Keefe with another GhostCultMag.com live stream here, streaming everywhere through the grace of StreamYard on the web and TikTok in the real. Daniel79 Nunez is here. What up, Dan? This is a crazy video I didn't think I'd make. This video is about Alice in Chains. We're going to talk about the current controversy with Alice in Chains. The Friendly Men 95 is here. Good to see you on TikTok. Dillinger Compound is here. Rip Casey Chaos. That is right. We helped break that news. I think we had it before just about anyone else. Not the first, doesn't matter. I loved Amen. And not too happy about that news today. As weirdly, people do seem to pass away at the end of the year. Just my historic evidence shows that we lose some folks toward the end of the year. Costas Plum is here. So, hey, Dillinger, I hope you're well. Friendly Men 95, I hope you're well. Everybody else watching, I hope you're well. Chase DeBoer, what up? So, I would be not a good journalist if I didn't do this story. I love Alice in Chains right off the bat. They're one of my favorite bands ever, like top 5 bands ever. And, but this is a very bad look, this whole controversy. But I also think that the media is getting it wrong. And I think what I'm honing in on these live streams, I don't know if I'm going to do one every day. You guys let me know if you want to see my face on here every day. I don't like to see my face on here every day, or every other day. But, as needed, maybe take as needed for pain, right? Like I hate God. But we got to talk about it. You can't just talk about when things are good. You got to talk about when things are bad and controversial and problematic as well. And we've got some problematic things. But I think what I'm starting to hone in on is, and I've felt this for a long time, a lot of the reporting by my peers is bad. Nothing personal to them as websites. And listen, they all have bigger traffic than me, so I'm going to look like an asshole calling some of them out. But I think some of the calling out needs to get done. And I'm going to be that guy. Because I'm really one of the rare people in this entire field of rock and metal journalism that comes from a journalism background. It's gone. It's a lost thing. People were bloggers, or they were reaction videos, and now they're interviewing the biggest bands in the world, and they didn't have a basis for any of this shit before. We're supposed to see Amen when they were on tour with Killing Joke in 2003, but Amen couldn't get across the border. I remember that distinctly. Killing Joke has had problems getting into America and other places because Jazz is a madman. Sean Henderson is here. Blue Raspberry is here. Sons Ferik is here. C. Marley 25 is here. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. And I'll tell you why. Because since 2012, GhostCultMag.com has been your 24/7, 365 resource. 365 days a year resource for rock and metal news, interviews with bands, concert and festival reviews from around the world. We covered metal on 4 continents this year. Yo, come on now. I will just quickly share a quick recollection about Casey, which is that I saw their very first big tour, which was supporting Machine Head and Slipknot and Coal Chamber. I saw them on Ozfest. I saw them all over the place. They played like a one-off couple of days on Ozfest once, and I always thought they were really good. And I thought Casey was inherently a very interesting cat. We don't know the cause of death yet. We do not. And I think the press release that came from his current record label, Cleopatra Records, and I believe there was going to be a new Amen record at some point. I'm kind of surprised. I know that rap metal is not his thing, but based on his close relationship with 2/4 of the members of Snot, I'm surprised they never asked him to be the Snot vocalist. Concrete Digital Media is here. Matthew Sites 85 is here. Big Matty is here. MDeck 23 and Monanki. So yeah, sad about Casey from Amen. But we're here to talk about Alice in Chains. And I'm gonna be honest with you. They have no excuses. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Lots of comments with Alice in Chains song titles. But I think there's a lot of confusion about the reporting about this story. I don't think it's been done very well. And I think one of the things I'm going to do is when my brethren do a bad job at this, or not the best job they could do, or when I don't do a good job, including this story a little bit, because I'm going to tell you where someone called me out, I'm going to highlight it. Maybe that's, we're not, we don't have any enemies. We don't have competition like that, but like we are in a competition against all these other websites that do what we do every day that are bigger than us. William Thomas is here. Father Frog is here. Karen is here. So Alice in Chains, man. So what's the rub? What is the story? A new story broke that Alice in Chains and Shinedown and a bunch of rappers and Chris Brown, the wife beater, were basically in a scandal, a scandalous, I don't want to say it's a scam, but basically the American taxpayers and the government gave money to bands and venues impacted by the COVID-19 shutdowns, basically money to get by as a business. Every band is a business except DIY small bands, but every band at a major label is incorporated. There's a touring entity. There's a revenues and music rights and royalties entity. There might be a separate entity for other business activities like side ventures, coffee and merch and things. And Alice in Chains was like one of the headline named bands, and Shinedown, who are two of the bigger rock bands today. Heather Christie is here, and Trick for You is here. Ella is here. So Business Insider ran this story, which is really a follow-up on a story from a year ago. And that Ghost Cole had that story also, which is that a lot of bands had taken these loans from the government, PPP loans, at the height of COVID in 2020 and 2021 to offset losses from not being able to tour and not being able to do things. And they didn't pay them back, but also what they used them for. And I mean, like, once the money is given out, the government technically does have oversight, did send out questionnaires, did ask them, what did you do with the money? And I'm going to talk about how that works in a second too, because I think there's a lot of confusion in the media about how, yes, they're called loans, but if you take out a loan and they tell you you don't have to pay it back, is it a grant or is it a loan? If the Small Business Administration is involved in this. A lot of taxpayers didn't get a lot of relief. Not everybody got a COVID check in America. And by the way, America gave out the lowest COVID payouts to their citizens of any country that was giving them. France was giving out like $5,000 a month to their citizens. Granted, Europe is much more expensive than America. Thanks to whoever's watching here on YouTube. Feel free to join the conversation. Drop us a super like or a super chat or a thanks, or buy us a Ko-fi on coffee, or drop us a donation on PayPal. We don't ask for a lot. We're just trying to keep the lights on. So this story is technically a year old. A year ago, this story came out. Here, I'm gonna try to pull these up as I can and see if I can share the screen. Will it let me? I seem to be having some issues. All right, here we go. Nope. Maybe too many clicks. Itchy trigger finger. Let's see. How's everybody doing out there today? Holiday weekend, just about right before the week, short work week maybe. Local Hoodlum is here. Keller is here. Yarhami is here. Pickle Pagan is here. That's a great name, Pickle Pagan. Do you like pickles? I love pickles. I had pickles with my lunch. Just not gonna let me pull up the thing. Maybe window. Maybe that's how I have to do it. All right. Yep. Let's see. That should be it here. Here we go. Hey-oh. And I'll make it big I'll embiggen it for all of you. So this article reads, Slipknot, Korn, Post Malone, Smashing Pumpkins, Nickelback, and more received millions in PPP loans, according to a U.S. government report. And this is from December 26, 2023. According to a report from Lambgoat, our friends at Lambgoat, we're in the Lambgoat network. We'll talk about that. And the New York Post, the bastion of not good journalism, but okay. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul's annual Festivus report shared his annual report for Christmas, deriding the U.S. government on federal spending. He's a libertarian. He loves to do this. There has not been many politicians worse for America than Rand Paul and his dad, Ron Paul. But okay. Applicants were eligible to receive 45% of their 2019 gross revenue. So remember, 2019, no COVID. Bands toured. Festivals happened. Bands put out albums. They toured all over the world. They had revenue streams coming in. Band like Alice in Chains tours all the time. Slipknot at that time had a brand new album out, was touring all the time. And all these other bands. There was the Small Business Administration's Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, but bands were also allowed to participate in this. Not only small enterprises, but well-known names in the music industry. And again, if you make it a free-for-all, people are going to ask for the money. They're going to apply. So Slipknot received $9.7 million, with an initial $1.5 million going to their Knotfest Music Festival. They don't tell you how to spend the money. They just say, we need the money for this. You make a case. You fill out the paperwork. You say, this is our expenses. Here's how you show your financials. Here's how much we earned. This is what they gave us. So if Slipknot got, let's say, $11 million for Slipknot and Knotfest, that's 45% of what they made in 2019, which means they made $20 or $25 million in 2019. Korn was given $5.3 million. Coincidentally, Rand Paul's state of Kentucky is number 2 in the country on dependency of government. We'll call it pork, handouts, money they need help with. And that guy always votes against hurricane relief and disaster relief and, aid or whatever. Bunch of bullshit. Other artists called out by Paul. This is in his 23 report a year ago. Post Malone, Lil Wayne, Chris Brown, Smashing Pumpkins, and non-Americans Nickelback, whose record label is based in the U.S., and though their band is likely incorporated in the States. So he does this report. He did a new one. Business Insider continued to track this story. And Business Insider continued to track the story and did an expose this week about how the money was spent. They've been tracking this for a while. OMG. And so let's also, for a second, though, let's consider that Alice in Chains, is the big name band here. They are one of the biggest bands in the rock world. They, by all rights, should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a crime they are already not. They were broken up following the passing of, even before the passing of Lane Staley. The band was on hiatus. They came back as a tour, as a kind of an operating band in 2009. They put out their record Black Gives Way to Blue in 2010. They've had 3 or 4 records since then. Some of the members have solo careers, and they're pretty successful. Shinedown also has been one of the biggest bands in the world in the meantime. Perion's passed by. What's up, yo? Good to see you. Just appreciate you being here. So, they've had a pretty banner year in 2024. This is kind of some sour grapes at the end of a good year for them, I would think. Jar of Flies hit its 30th anniversary in January, and the vinyl re-release and repress for the first time in a long time did so successfully as a vinyl, item that the album entered the charts, Billboard, back in the Billboard charts after it was number 1 back in 1994 when it came out. Granted, it came out early in the year, so there was not a lot of competition in the rock charts back then, but it got back in the charts. Sean Henderson's here, that Dizzy guy's here, and Wake Up Wayne is back. What up, Wake Up Wayne? How you doing? So we're talking about Alice in Chains. Jar of Flies goes back in the charts. It's huge in the Billboard streams. And, was already one of their most popular records. They still play a lot of this stuff live. And so, just kind of a good thing for them. And in addition, I mentioned Black Gives Way to Blue had an anniversary this year, 15th anniversary. We did some content on both of these things. I can link in the description if you're interested. 15 years of Black Gives Way to Blue. That also had a vinyl reissue this year. We're going to be doing a deep dive on all the vinyl reissues, the top ones you should be getting. I believe in the next week or so, that came out this year. But Alice in Chains toured a lot. Here's a bunch of photos from Hammerstein Ballroom, I think right before the pandemic. There's Jerry Cantrell, Mike Inez, William Duvall, who we have an interview with William Duvall here on our YouTube. Please go check it out. It's pretty great. I met him in person. He's really lovely. I even met his parents. They're really lovely. And here's Sean Kinney and William also from that show at the Hammerstein Ballroom. The band in 2024 toured. They played festivals. They played Sick New World Festival. Here's that original picture of them without my little cover image. And, Jerry Cantrell had a solo album this year, I Want Blood, that he put out kind of via his own label. And they've had a very strong year. So it's kind of a bummer that this comes out at the end of the year, maybe sours the year for them. And Alice in Chains is known to do charity stuff. They do a lot of charity concerts. They show up when it's needed. But, this looks bad. So we got to talk about what this is. And again, I'm a fan. I'm not a hater. I love the band. Thanks for all those watching everywhere on Facebook and the tube of you and everything. Appreciate y'all. If you're new here, drop a comment, say hi. I will follow you back if you have a public account that I can follow. I would like to follow you back. Got some new comments here. Oh, let's see. And, I'm not trying to be super political, right? Like, obviously, it's politics is the story of this. If you gave a SIN number equal to a Social Security number in America, you were given $2,000 right off the bat. So much abuse. Canada is now in a heap of debt because of that. Is true. That is true. Thank you, Dillinger Compound, for being a part of this conversation. And no checks and balances. Absolutely. Like, in the words of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is the fool? The fool or the fool who follows him? Elaine Kislow is here. What up, Elaine? So just a reminder, we'll do a little business here before I continue the lecture at hand. Ghost Cult's 2024 Albums of the Year Countdown Extravaganza is coming Monday morning, aka Overnight Monday. So stay tuned for that. I think I will try to do one more live stream tomorrow. Av Hath is here. What up? Hello from Indonesia. Well, thanks for being here, Indonesia. We appreciate you. We have writers from all over the world, and we used to have a metal writer from Indonesia. He was a genius, and then he got into grad school, and he couldn't write for us anymore. But our Album of the Year stuff is coming on Monday. Podcast, YouTube video with a bunch of staff and myself. Website post with in-depth reviews. All right. Feel free to send it. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. And then just a reminder, if you're watching this everywhere but TikTok, sorry, y'all on TikTok, you are seeing this on StreamYard. StreamYard is a one-stop shop for streaming dominance. I can stream on all our socials at the same time: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch. Unfortunately, not TikTok yet. We'll see. And a few others. And it's awesome. It allows me to have that ticker. I can pull the most of the comments in and have them on the screen in real time, and your stuff gets to live in infamy if you participate in the chat, and you get to be here forever. And we have an affiliate deal with them, so if you sign up with our link in the description, you get $10 off your subscription debut, and we get $10 off our next bill. So it's, again, Dutch rudder. You pull, I pull. You pull me, I pull you. You know what I'm saying? Corey fucking Pierce is here. What up, Corey Pierce? Corey Pierce is on TikTok, from God forbid, on the strength of a bunch of triumphant shows last year. Of course, there's going to be like a car alarm going off while I'm doing this. You fucks. Oh, it's over. Okay. So let's dive deeper into this thing. Here's how my peers reported the news. And actually, this isn't bad. Report alleges Alice in Chains misused millions of dollars in COVID grant money. By the way, there's William Duvall, who was not named in the Business Insider report as a recipient of money. He might have been. Kind of shitty to put his photo up there instead of a whole band photo. But I like they used the word alleges, misused. That, I mean, like, let's have a discussion, drop a comment, and tell me if you think if you were given money with the understanding, like, oh, you guys can't earn money because you're off the road, you can pay yourselves. Some of the understood parameters where you were going to pay your road crew, ideally to keep them on staff so they didn't go homeless or lose a job. There's no health insurance in a lot of this, you're going to find out, in the music business. And misused, assumes there was a purpose stated, like we're going to use it for this, this, and this, which they might have done and then did something else. But we don't know. Garth McFarlane is here. Sue XOXO is here. Hi, Sue. Feel free to drop some hearts on that TikTok video and like the host, like the live host. We appreciate it. So Metal Sucks, not bad. I would give this about a B on the reporting. I believe this is Metal Injection. Alice in Chains allegedly misused COVID grant money. See, grant money, not loan money, according to report. That's Emily Bellino, who's a fantastic writer for Decibel Magazine as well. Much respect to the fam over at Metal Injection. We used to be kind of business partners. We're fond of them. They do a great job. If you're on TikTok, follow Greg Kennelty of Metal Injection. He's the head of their news, and he's great. He also makes music. He's pretty cool. Here's Lamb Goat. Alice in Chains named in a report alleging misuse of COVID grant funds. Not bad. Not bad from our friends at Lamb Goat. Reminder, we are part of the Lamb Goat Media Network, so we are business partners with them, but I call them out when they do a bad job. And then here's the report everybody is citing. This is the Ron Paul releases the 2023 Festivus report on government waste. This is last year's report. This year's report is coming out, I think, Monday. And it's a bunch of complaints. Again, this is a guy who is proudly not passing any laws or doing anything. And, I will say in terms of our own reporting on this, so let's just take a quick look at what we wrote also before I go on, because I think it's important to call ourselves out sometimes. And I want you guys to, like everydayers like Dillinger Compound and The Friendly Me. Like if you see something fishy on Ghost Cult, like you should tell me, DM me or tell me, post publicly on our socials and call it out, because you know what? I don't want to be known as a bad actor in this thing, man. I care. I really care about the job we're doing. It's important to me to, hold up some integrity. So here's come on, y'all. This thing's glitchy tonight. Here we go. So here's what we wrote. Okay, Alice in Chains and Shinedown among artists named in fraud over COVID-19 relief funds. So it's very strongly worded. I'm not going to lie. I took the words directly from the Business Insider report where they used the word fraud and COVID relief funds. So I didn't say loans or grants. They are called loans formally, but it feels more like a grant. And I just want to say, from my personal experience, I used to work in the nonprofit world, and I have experience helping edit and write grants. So not in a long time, to be fair, and not in about 15 years. Eric Hutter is here. So Raffer is here. Chill Guy 175 also passed by. Gareth McFarlane again. So again, if you're on TikTok, like that live. Like this. We're trying to get those subs up by the end of the year on some of our socials. So we did this article, and basically, we took the Business Insider article following up on a story from 2023. That's the earlier article I mentioned. The music industry was one of the most devastated due to COVID-19 pandemic took hold. And the U.S. government signed into law the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, not loan. It says grant, right? A grant is given and you're not expected to pay it back. It's given to you to do whatever you need with it. It was for payroll and operations capital for venues and bands. It was meant to keep artists afloat during lockdowns. Touring did not really resume full-time until 2021. And if you remember, a band like Metallica that toured all of 2019 and ended with their S&M 2 performance in August or September, right before James Hetfield went into rehab and they canceled a bunch of shows, they didn't have a show for 2,300 days. I know, because I went to the first one back in August of 2021. So literally like 18 months they didn't have a show. And then they started picking up shows again. We really didn't come out of this thing until the end of 2021. The Shuttered Venue Operators Grant and the Paycheck Protection Program, that's where the PPP comes from. These federal loan programs were created in 2020 to help businesses and self-employed workers impacted by COVID. And we all know that big businesses, corporations, entertainment, Live Nation got loans. They don't need loans. They make trillions of dollars. Most of our politicians took PPP loans, including my least favorite politician beside Rand Paul, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for her CrossFit business. She had already closed down, but she took a $3 million loan and then it was forgiven and she didn't have to pay it back and has never answered for this. Most senators and Congress people do all kinds of dirty business shit on the side and get away with it because they're politicians. Keep your eyes open, people. I'm not trying to get too political, but fuck off. Again, Dillinger Compound, you're absolutely right. No checks and balances. So, however, there's long been allegations of bad actors abusing the program for their own financial gain. Back in December of 2023, U.S. Senator Rand Paul publicly railed against the lack of accounting transparency and how artists who received aid through the grant loan programs actually use that taxpayer money. In his 2023 Festivus report, Paul also provided the figures of some musicians for heavier genres who took part in the relief programs. Again, Slipknot, $9.7 million, Knotfest, $1,050,000, Korn, $5.3 million, Nickelback, not American, but American business, $2 million, Smashing Pumpkins, along with Post Malone, Lil Wayne, and Chris Brown, and more. So now we have this new article by Business Insider. No fraud was officially alleged and no charges have been filed. So let's just get that out in the open. No charges have been filed. But the quote from Business Insider says on March 23, 2022, records show that Alice in Chains singer and guitarist Jerry Cantrell took in $1.4 million as an SVOG distribution. The band's drummer Sean Kinney received the same amount and its bassist Mike Inez $682,000. Now again, that's, you know, if you're going to tour for like 2 years and you lose all your income except streaming, you know, that's a huge loss for you. Let's just satisfy my curiosity and see what an SVOG, I believe that's what the SVOG stands for, Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. So that's just that acronym so you can know what it is. All acronyms known. I can make all the Alice in Chains jokes, no excuses, etc. So again, and I'll read more of this in a second. So, you know, I feel like we did a good job. One fan, Cryptic Carnage, is here. One fan on Blue Sky said, hey, you know, there have been no charges filed and you used very strong language in your story. And I said, yes, no charges have been filed. We definitely were, you know, used the basis of our article from the Business Insider article. That's good journalism. Cite the original article. Call back our history of covering this. And, you know, there's been a lot of fraud in the music industry. Everybody knows about Live Nation and Ticketmaster. Right before the pandemic, we found out that Live Nation has, especially all the biggest bands in the world, so your arena and stadium tour bands, Metallica, Rammstein, Rolling Stones, Foo Fighters, your biggest bands who play arenas and things, when they sell tickets, Taylor Swift, they have a Live Nation person in their organization. Let's say Metallica Inc., Taylor Swift Inc. has a person in her foundation. Their whole job is to work with Live Nation to sell a portion of those tickets for an extreme price. That's part of their job. This graft and grift is built in. I'm talking just about the tickets right now. And, you know, the bands, on the other hand, have to deal with merch cuts and streaming not paying and all these things. So this was like a real ray of sunshine for a lot of bands that had a real hard time. But at the same time, did all these bands and companies get millions and trillions of dollars in loans, and common people didn't get as much. And some businesses were small businesses were rejected. We were not we were kind of like an S corporation and not a formally incorporated LLC at that time. So we couldn't ask for money. And I was out of work that whole year. And my partner, Omar Cordy, was out of work like 16 months when he used to work like 80 hours a week. So Ron Paul, right? Let's talk about his Festivus report, and I'll read a little bit from it. This is Ron Paul. I don't know if you know Ron Paul. Robert Pannell is here. Thank you. Something Stupid with Dom says you like my poster. It's actually a flag, but thank you. I do appreciate you. Something Stupid with Dom. Give us a follow. We'll follow you back. Ron Paul looks like a guy who has never come a day in his life. Look at his fucking face. He's a terrible politician, just like his dad. In the guise of libertarianism, when there's an earthquake or a tornado or a hurricane, he tells them, rebuild yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like Ayn Rand would tell you to do in Atlas Shrugged. You don't need to take support from anybody. And Rand spent the end of her life on welfare, by the way. Rand Paul's a despicable little prick, by the way. He's a horrible politician. I feel bad for the people in his state, just like his dad once said, I spent 45 years and I never compromised or voted on anything. Do I like Slayer? I love Slayer. I had seen Slayer the most of any band until they retired. And then the pandemic happened. I think the pandemic happened because Slayer retired, not anything else. Here's another picture of Rand Paul. The guy looks like he hasn't taken a solid shit since 1978. Right? Like this fucking guy. Look at his face. I just want to punch it right through the screen. But my screen is an awesome HP screen, and I don't want to fucking damage it. Seanzilla is here. NYC Punk Rock is here. What up, what up? And then just for one more, because I like to satisfy myself, Rand Paul looks kind of like if syphilis and gonorrhea fucked inside a hobo sock that was then set on fire. Look at his fucking face. Fuck this guy. Oh my God. Fuck him. But anyway, he has this fucking report every year. And this report was followed up on. This is the Business Insider article. I'm sorry they got canceled. Slayer is definitely going to play Louder Than Life and a few other things in 2025. Stay tuned. And you can always see Carrie's band and also hear Slayer songs. Mr. Grosser is here. So, how rich musicians build American taxpayers for luxury hotels, shopping sprees, and million-dollar bonuses. I think this article is very loose and fast with the truth. It's very salacious and very, it's very what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's very meant to be sensational. Business Insider is a reputable website and formerly a magazine. Yep, you got free tickets for going. Awesome. So let's read some of the Business Insider article. I'm doing better at sharing this stuff. And yeah, let's do this one more time. Sneezing drywall is back. Again, I hope you worked that problem out, friendo. Here's the article from Business Insider, and I'll read a little bit more of it now. So many musicians struggled during the pandemic. Lil Wayne wasn't one of them. He sold his master recordings from his record label's artists for more than $100 million. He was pardoned for felony gun possession in a last-minute action by then-President Donald Trump. He purchased a $15.4 million mansion in the mountains of Los Angeles. As a Business Insider investigation found, he received an $8.9 million grant from a little-known pandemic relief program. Not little-known, well-known, fucks. Used to cover more than 2 years' worth of spending on luxury hotel stays, designer clothes, and travel to and from nightclub appearances around the country. Now, I'm going to say Lil Wayne, a.k.a. Dwayne Carter Jr., is not... Like, he's not Alice. He's got so much more money you can't even conceive than Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains they're well off, even rich compared to the average American. But compared to the wealth that Lil Wayne has, and I'm not even talking about the $100 million of his recording label sales that he sold off. I'm talking about he's living at a lifestyle of the uber rich, right? And so I get that, like, there's a saying, most men can't go backwards sexually in their life, and most people can't go to poverty if they've never been poor. And so if you were used to this lifestyle where you've been rich for 20 years, you're going to have a hard time dialing that back and living more modestly, even if as a wealthy person. And nobody saw this thing coming. Dillinger Compound says, wasn't the Justice Department suing Ticketmaster and Live Nation for monopolizing the live concert industry? Where are we with this? We're not getting that far. I'll talk about that. We're not getting that far because Live Nation has lobbied the government so hard with so much money, there's no incentive for them to follow through on that shit. Although one of Trump's boys is definitely interested in lowering the ticket prices and actioning against Live Nation. We'll see. So this article alleges that Dwayne Carter Jr., a.k.a. Lil Wayne, spent more than $1.3 million from the grant, from that $10 million he got, almost $9 million. 1.3 on a private jet flights, over 460,000 on clothes and accessories, many of them high-end brands like Gucci and Balenciaga. He billed the taxpayers. So that language has been used, build the taxpayers. Yes, a little portion of your taxes goes to this. No, we didn't lose any services we would have otherwise gotten because of this grant or loan, whatever you want to call these things. So that's the misnomer in this article. And again, Business Insider, full respect. I worked in finance like 15 years ago. I know a lot of finance gurus. I know a lot of finance bros. So again, he also billed the taxpayers again. More than $175,000 for expenses related to music festival promoting his marijuana brand, Guka. I never heard of this actually, because I don't care about Lil Wayne or modern rap or pop music, including clothing for artists associated with his label. He also used the grant money to cover $15,000 worth of flights and hotel rooms for women whose connection to Lil Wayne's touring operation was unclear, but it included a waitress at a Hooters type restaurant and a porn actress. So clearly, he didn't care what he used he didn't care what he used it for. And then there's like a little chart here, right? You see this chart? Lil Wayne shopping spree, Balenciaga sweater, $1,990. I think every piece of clothes I have is worth $1,900. Converse Rick Owens sneakers, $200. Balenciaga belt, $295. Marni pants, $950. The Riff Mountain is here to save the day. Raf Simons baseball hat, $450. Doc Martens Futura boots, $230. Doc Martens are pricey, even the standard ones. On New Year's Eve, he was scheduled to perform a concert at Coachella, but shortly before his set, a concert employee announced the rapper would be unable to perform because of wind and flights. And the crowd booed, and other private jets flew in for the event, but Lil Wayne didn't. And then later that night, he was partying on Sunset Boulevard with 2 Chainz. All right, cool. This is crazy. This is a crazy chart here. How Lil Wayne spent his grant. Again, using loans and grants interchangeable is not accurate. It's either a loan or it's a grant. These are not the same things. A loan comes with the promise to repay. When the government did the too big to fail bailouts, there was an understanding that all those banks that merged or almost went under or got supported by the U.S. government in the financial crash of 2008, 2009, there was an understanding those companies were going to pay the money back. When the auto industry was bailed back, most of them paid it all back. When you say the word grant, it's different than a loan. A grant is a disbursement that lets you do whatever you want, you need to run your business. We have tried to get a small business loan, by the way, for Ghost Cult, just for transparency. We haven't been approved yet, so we'll see if it ever happens. I don't know. Try to convince people that your worthwhile venture and your dream in life is this metal website, you know? But if I was ever dishonest, I would want you all to call me out. Dillinger Compound, I'm looking at you. You're a friend. Call me out if we ever do something wrong like that. Commissions to then manager Mac Main, $1.71 million. Private jets, $1.38 million. Lawyers at Grubman Shire, $590,000. Accountants at NKSFB, that's one of the big 5 accounting firms, almost $600,000. Clothes, $528,000. Contractors who worked on his shows, $327,000. Settling a debt owed to his former accountant, $300,000. Mystery women. This is fucking epic. I love this reporting. In this case, that's really good. Mystery women, $14,900. Everything else, $1.3 million. And this is documents that Business Insider has been shown and shared. An abuse of federal resources. Chuck Schumer had originally got this law signed into law by Trump in 2020 and established a lifeline for independent venues. Save Our Stages was a big thing. NEMA was a big thing. But still, merch cuts continue to exist even after. And as you know, as Dillinger pointed out earlier, this monopoly with Live Nation and Ticketmaster, ticket prices continue to go up and up. And I did some reporting earlier in the week about System of a Down and their huge stadium shows in the USA and how the dynamic pricing hit those shows. So if you got in early and you were able to get base price tickets, they were not cheap, but they were not unacceptably high. Like, you know, if you pay $130 for a floor, a general admission floor, not a VIP pit situation, that's not the worst I've ever seen. Metallica charges about that. Nosebleed seats for the initial tickets were like $80, but you know, it's a stadium show, production, etc. Then the dynamic pricing hit when it started to sell out. Morgan Evans passed by. What up, Morgan? Ghost cultist Morgan Y. Evans, and musician and activist and homie. You know, the tickets were like, people were paying $590 a ticket, $1,000 a ticket, $2,000, $3,000 a ticket, not even for good seats, not even for the floor, not even for the front row or the pit. Fucking crazy. I'm going to soapbox a little. So pop stars use this program as a piggy bank, but that was what it was meant for. Like, so this article is a little squiffy. It's a little squiffy, as my partner Nick Cameron would say, and at my podcast. So I want to scroll down. Lil Wayne threw Chris Brown got $10 million, and $5 million of it went to Chris Brown personally, and he also again billed the taxpayers. This is not accurate. For $80,000 for his 33rd birthday. My last birthday cost nothing. I went to a bar and I bought myself a shot. You know, and it goes on to detail all this stuff and how Chris Brown spent his money on himself, insurance, manager Anthony Ant Williams, accountants, same accounting firm, lawyers at Grubb and Shire, crew payroll, at least he paid his crew out, $383,000, celebrity basketball tournament, $179,000. Technically, if it's a celebrity tournament and it is probably aligned to a charity, he wrote that amount off and got that money back. His own birthday party, $80,000, and everything else, $1 million. Neither Lil Wayne or Chris Brown's attorneys have commented. Marshmello also got almost $10 million. You know, Marshmello's the dance music artist. So it's wild. Steve Aoki got money. Marshmello's real name is Christopher Comstock. I never knew that. And when the Small Business Association asked for the proof of where the money went, his business manager, Stephen McCauley, responded by saying it all went into his pocket. So at least they told on themselves. They told the truth. Respect. They said, yeah, we pocketed it. Because our beneficiary received the 2019 officer draw as a salary from the 365 Touring International in excess of the SVOG grant award, we therefore expense the entire grant to payroll, which means he paid himself $10 million. Maybe he makes much more than that in a year that he tours. He probably does. But like, you know, again, is it a grant or is it a loan? If it's a grant, there's no expectation of paying it back ever. And they might have even if it was called a loan, they might have been asked they asked their business managers and they asked their accountants and they asked their forensic accountants and they asked their lawyers, like, do we ever have to pay this back? And they were probably told no. So do whatever you want with the money. You don't have to pay it back. This is relief money. But here's where it starts to get dicey for Alice in Chains. And I'm gonna stop sharing this for a second because I have this stuff on another part of the deck here. So right, here's how Lil Wayne got his money. And now, so here's the Alice in Chains stuff. Oh, and this is where it starts to get bad looking. And again, this is a band that I love, and I still love and respect the band, but it's hard. This is real hard. And again, if you're watching here, I appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. If you got questions, drop them. Eric Palm is here. NSF Wilps is here. D Michael 114 is here. So yeah. On March 23rd, 2022, records show that Alice in Chains singer Jerry Cantrell. So this is 2022. COVID is over. I don't think it's actually over, but it's over. Touring had resumed. Jerry Cantrell took it in a $1.4 million as an SVOG distribution. That's the grant payout. The band's drummer, Sean Kinney, received the same amount, and the bassist, Mike Inez, booked half the sum, about $682,000. No mention of William Duvall, whose face is all over these articles by our peers. Claire F65 is here. Cheyenne Estragon is here. DJ is here. So, like other grant applicants, AIC Entertainment, the three band members of the touring business. So William is not involved in that. I'm sure he gets paid as a contractor or an employee. They had to tell the government only that the money was necessary, but before the month they took their payouts. The month before the band took their payouts, they recorded about $48 million in income from selling the copyrights to the catalog. Now, I happen to have this story handy as well, because this is some fascinating shit. So, and again, these are separate monies. The touring entity, Alice in Chains Incorporated, and the Alice in Chains Incorporated, and like whatever the arm of the like publishing and copyrights is a separate thing. They might all end up pooling into the same bunch of money, depending on your business model of your band. Usually they're kept separate. So yes, they took that loan money and paid themselves for the years they didn't make any money, or barely any money, except streaming and physical sales. And Jerry's album Brighton also came out in 2022. And William Duvall put out some indie solo records that year, but basically the rest of the band didn't do much. I think they did the Mopop Charity Award thing where they were awarded with the Mopop Lifetime Achievement thing. So they sold their catalog. So basically this part of the article is a little murky. They sold their catalog to Round Hill Music, a huge music publisher, for $48 million. That is only the music, like their catalog, partial rights to their catalog, partial. Does include William and his records that he's on. So William did get a piece of that $48 million, split between managers and whoever gets a piece and the band. But actually, the rights to the music owned by Lane Staley and Mike Starr shares of the band, not owned by the other Alice in Chains surviving members, went to a rival publishing company, Primary Wave, which you also can look up and talk about. So Alice in Chains, here's an article on. This is published on Variety.com from fucking pop-up ads. There's not enough epoxy in the world to seal all the assholes, from Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa's birthday, I think, is this week, right? Frank Zappa's my favorite Frank Zappa quote is, the biggest problem, Muy Bueno is here, the biggest problem in the world is the idea that it's cool to be stupid and the stupid people that enact it. I'm paraphrasing. Basically, the rash of stupidity in the world. So Variety shares this story. This is February 7th, 2022. So 6 weeks later, they pay themselves out this money. They could have paid their staff. We don't know that they didn't, but we assume they didn't. Which is going to come up in a second why it's problematic and what the real problem is with Alice in Chains. Not the loan pocketing, it's the other thing they did. But that's my real problem with this. Not that they paid themselves money that was given to them with no expectation they ever have to, ever pay it back. So Alice in Chains members sell catalog to Round Hill for $50 million. I want to make sure I get this correct. Alice in Chains members Jerry Cantrell, Sean Kinney, Mike Inez, and William Duvall have sold their catalogs with the band to Round Hill Music. A rep for the company is confirmed. Terms of the deal were not disclosed, but sources tell Variety the deal was for $50 million. Round Hill does not, which is a small amount, by the way, compared to other bands. Bruce Springsteen sold his for like $600,000, and Bob Dylan sold his for $375,000, $1 million, $1 million, not $1,000. The Round Hill deal does not encompass copyrights belonging to the estates of original singer Lane Staley and original bassist Mike Starr, who passed away in 2002 and 2011, respectively. On Monday, their respective estates, I think Mike Starr's is owned by his sister and mom, and Lane's is by his mom and sisters. Respectively, estates said they sold their music rights to Primary Wave, funds unknown. Round Hill will receive 100% interest in the 4 current members' copyrights, so they take a payout now. Round Hill owns the rights to do whatever they want with the music, make reissues. That's why we got the reissues on vinyl this year. That's who got the money, Round Hill. When Alice in Chains shows up, maybe the next Batman movie instead of Nirvana has Dirt by Alice in Chains instead of Depressing Something in the Way, or maybe it has Them Bones as Batman punches bitches. I'd love to see it. Vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman. Anyway, rip Kevin Conroy. But Round Hill will receive 100% interest in the 4 current members' copyrights and masters and publishing. Holy shit, that's a big deal. 94 compositions and 159 recordings, which means like live albums and other things, re-recordings, unplugged, along with neighboring rights, whatever's associated. The catalog includes rock radio staples Wood, Man in the Box, Them Bones, and Rooster. Alice in Chains compositions by Cantrell, the band's main songwriter over the course of their entire career, are part of the pack, though his solo work is not. Olaf Drums is here. Olaf, Berserker. Nate Jones 1 is here. So, fascinating shit. So this happens, and then this is where it gets, so okay, they made a lot of money in 2022. They didn't make any money in 2020 or 21, or a lot less. Not none, but a lot less, right? But then this happened. The band did spend some money to pay its staff, and it paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to sound equipment rental firms and videographers and managers that they had owed money to keep them on retainer. But the precarious nature of working in the live entertainment business didn't change for some of its employees. Scott Doc Roden, a guitar tech and tour photographer that had worked with the band for years, received a cancer diagnosis in late 2021. He has no health insurance, and he can now not work to pay his bills. The GoFundMe was launched by his family, and Alice in Chains shared it on their socials, which I think people mistakenly interpreted that Alice in Chains launched the GoFundMe. So there's some acrimony there between Scott's family and maybe Scott. He never said a bad word about them, and they probably donated to his fund, but they didn't launch the GoFundMe. Perhaps they didn't pay him off or pay him out, even though he was their roadie for the longest time. And he has no health insurance and cannot work to pay his bills. The band's lead singer said on Facebook that Alice in Chains helped out behind the scenes, but a person familiar with the situation said Doc Roden didn't get much, if any, money from the band during the pandemic and after his diagnosis. The band connected Doc Roden with a charity that helps with medical bills, but Doc Roden died soon after his diagnosis. So Alice in Chains 2 years ago took a lot of shit because this happened. Like maybe they could have helped him, should have helped him. Alice in Chains publicist and manager not respond to requests for comments. I know Alice in Chains publicist very well. We are friends in the business. They have a lot of top tier bands, and I feel very fortunate to work with them. And we were able to review Jerry's solo record first, but that doesn't excuse me from my duties as a journalist. So that's why we're talking about this stuff. And hopefully nobody takes it personal. I doubt they will. They're professionals. So, I mean, this is what looks bad. So not only did they sold their catalog for millions of dollars right before the payout came for the loan money, they can argue they didn't need another couple of million or a couple of 100,000. And then their guy dies. Here is the, I should have it here. This is from Reddit. Let's see if I can pull this up and show it to you. And this guy worked with Tool. He worked with everybody. He was really well liked. A lot of like band promos and concert photos you saw for like 10 years or 15 years since William came in the band were shot by Scott. And then he kind of passed, man. It really fucking sucks. Hold on a second. A little screen freeze here. Come on. Oh, you. Zunk is here. Gormal is here. I appreciate you. I had that song stuck in my head for some reason. Just another lesson learned. In your darkest hour, you strike gold. Fuck. How sad. I know, like, if you look at some of our social media posts about the story and my brethren, my peers in the music journalism world, Metal Insider, Metal Sucks, Metal Injection, Lamb Goat, PRP, all the fans are like, someone is sitting on the angry chair. Got to make them bones somehow. Like, people got fucking jokes. You know what I'm saying? See if I can pull up this Scott thing again. I cannot. It will not let me. All right. Here we go. I got it now. One more second. Thanks, everybody. Some technical difficulties tonight. Window. Here it is. So I got this off of Reddit, but this is the social post from back then. Momunist writes, "Rest easy, my brother. You were loved by so many. Thank you for being my friend. My life wouldn't be what it is without having had you in it. See you on the other side." Liked by Greg Puciato, Alice in Chains, and others. So, super sad. Super sad, man. Super sad. I don't know why there's a bird on his head, but there's a bird on his head. Vicente 23 is here. Claire F65 is back. Adam Mott, what up? So just so sad. Just so fucking sad, right? And so here we are, like Alice in Chains has taken a lot of heat for this, but they didn't do anything. A bunch of other huge corporations, politicians, and other bands did. I do feel like, here's another one. Here's the post that was the GoFundMe post. Please support our dear friend and longtime tech, Scotty. He's been a staple of our camp for over 15 years. He's part of the fabric, part of our fabric, and he's in need. We humbly ask to help on his behalf. None of this says like we launched the GoFundMe. So I don't know why people go all up in their feelings like Alice in Chains took credit for this GoFundMe. They just shared it like they should have. Like every band that he ever worked with should have. Tool shared it, maybe they should have gave him some money immediately for his care. Just gave him, maybe they should have all gave him that, $3.4 million, but they didn't. They did help him, supposedly, but they didn't pay him out of that money. But again, you don't know what their business situation is. I'm not defending them. It looks terrible. It just absolutely looks terrible. Again, if it's a loan, there are terms and there's an expectation of needing to pay it back. If it's a grant, it's dispersed and you don't ever pay it back. And you don't, I guess the Small Business Association expects an accounting of what you spent it on, but you can clearly see they're not even shy about telling you what the fuck they spent it on. So they sold their catalog. Scott passes away, and here we are. No excuses. There's no excuses for some of this. So, is the band over because of this? No, but it looks real terrible. Thanks for being here, everybody on YouTube and Twitch. It looks bad. It just looks bad on them. Christina Black is here. Ashley Hensley is here. Victor Izzy Whitetail 49. Thank you all for watching. Frank Clawars 366 is here. They look real bad. Is it the worst thing I've ever heard? Bands have done a lot worse. Is it great? It's not a great fucking look, especially if you love and respect this band. I love and respect this band. This is one of my favorite bands. I listen to Alice in Chains every week. And so I wanted to just follow up on this question Dillinger Compound asked on YouTube. And again, this is probably your last chance to dance. Jump in the comments, ask me a question. Big JC is here. What up? What up? So Dillinger asked, wasn't the Justice Department suing Ticketmaster and Live Nation? And again, Live Nation is so rich that they take money against what they already owe. They get more loan money at like if you or I buy a car or a house or a credit card, average credit card, the APR is fucking astronomical. What are the terms on a 30-year loan right now? They're fucking ridiculous. This is why a certain generation of people feel like they can't ever buy a house or do anything in their lives, and they're working a wage slave for nothing. And these giant corporations just, fucking move with impunity. And, some of these monopolies do need to get broken up. Normally, I thought it was a good thing that Ticketmaster and Live Nation were together. How convenient, all the things. But Live Nation owns, just to remind you all, Live Nation owns all the venues, the whole ticketing operation, the reseller market, all the advertising, because they bought up Clear Channel. So they have all the fucking advertising in the world. Live Nation is one of the most dominating searched websites in the world. Ticketmaster is one of the most searched 200 websites in the world, and their equivalents. And Live Nation continues to leverage their extreme cash flow to buy every venue in the world, to buy up whole other companies, to absorb operations in Africa, South America, Asia, Russia. What the fuck? And the tickets keep going higher and higher. They should be lower and lower, not higher and higher. They already got caught. Bloodfire Jeff is here. What up, Bloodfire Jeff? Big fan. Big fan. Big fan. Follow Bloodfire Jeff for some great content. So this is funny. If you guys watched our weekly rock and metal news extravaganza live stream, I've been live streaming every day with these little shows, but I do a big show every Thursday to Friday, Thursday night. And we talked about this. Pam Bondi, who is the new pick for the Attorney General of the United States from incoming President Dump, met with Kid Rock to discuss a potential takedown of Ticketmaster and Live Nation. It's Kid Rock, another ginormous piece of shit, idiot, asshole, who is a multi-millionaire son. I'm not against multi-millionaires or the rich, but you've never been straight out the trailer. You've been straight out the mansion your whole life, bro. But okay, he had put on a tour not too long ago where he had an all-in $30 ticket that included a beer and a t-shirt at merch. That's pretty fucking cool. If I paid I pay more than $30 at just every show I go to. And even by the way, when I get into a show on the guest list for free to review the show, I buy merch from the bands whenever possible. Infamously, I got to see Amigo the Devil and Frank Turner and Bridge City Sinners and Julian Schnabel in Salt Lake City, which was fucking wonderful. And everybody should at least go there and check it out as a visitor. And Amigo the Devil's vinyl was all sold out. And Bridge City Sinners almost didn't make the show because they couldn't drive through the mountains. And all their merch didn't make it to the show. Night Beers is here. Hi, Night Beers. I have some Night Beers sometimes. I have a vinyl and beer podcast called the Glacially Musical Podcast you might like. We're on YouTube and all the streaming platforms where podcasts happen. So hopefully in this new administration, we're going to drain the swamp. I heard that before. We're pro-business. I heard that before. Ticketmaster has spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars lobbying Congress and Senate to prevent getting broken up. But if artists like Kid Rock, if artists like Metallica that was previously implicated in a pricing scandal, if huge artists like Taylor Swift go to Capitol Hill, stand up, testify, maybe we can break up this thing. Maybe we can get these ticket prices lowered. All these class action lawsuits, they don't even care. You guys remember there was like a class action suit before the pandemic where they gave everybody options to get tickets for free or low prices. They gave you credits on your account, and they were all for shows you didn't want, or they were already sold out, or they were lawn seats. I bought a bunch of tickets up in 2018 and 2019, and like I tried to resell them, and it was, or go. I went to some of those shows, but it was like redonkulous. Actually, one of those shows I used the credits for was to go to the Slayer farewell tour a few times. But like, what a fucking hot mess, right? So the music industry, it's not the music, as I always say, copyright Keefe 2021. It's not the music business. It's not the music friendship. It's the music business. And they don't give a fuck about bands. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about the fan. They don't give a fuck about the concert goer. They're all built in to get your money. Southeast of Heaven passed by. What up, sir? Ghost cultist, acclaimed author, podcaster. I will be on Don's podcast. It's Don DeLamont, Southeast of Heaven. You can give him a follow, TikTokers. I will be on Don's podcast, I assume soon. Maybe in the new year. Not sure when. But we were just talking about the Alice in Chains scandal, Don, and now I went on a rant about Ticketmaster being a fucking awful monopoly. Ian McLean is here. When all the corporations that got bailed out illegitimately with the billions and billions paid back, I'll hear this out. Right. Well, some of them did, though. Some of them did, Ian. I used to work in finance, and I worked for a company that actually got taken over during the crisis because they were going to go out of business. I worked for a mutual fund company. They were taken over by fucking Fidelity, one of the biggest mutual fund companies in the world. And then they were like, no one's going to get laid off. Then they were like, okay, we're going to try to not lay off anyone. All right, we might be laying off some people redundant to the other company. Then it was like, okay, we were going to pay out everybody's bonuses on June 1st. But if we do that, we have to lay off half the company. Have a company-wide vote. Oh, the CARES Act itself. Of course. Yeah, sure, Ian. Thank you. I appreciate that clarification, pal. They were like, okay, you can either have your bonuses or we have to lay off half the company. So you know what we did? We all voted as a company, and like 90% of the company voted to not take a bonus. The current CEO and outgoing C-suite took their bonuses, and then we were all laid off. My bosses were fired. People who manage billions of dollars in funds. I was laid off. This is in 2009. Kind of was a benefit anyway, because thanks to the President Obama, I was given like 2 years of unemployment, and I was able to go to grad school, and I supported myself by writing music articles as a journalist back then for places like Metal Army America before Ghost Cult existed, and other places. But yeah. Some of the companies during the financial fall and crisis did pay back their loans, including the auto industry that notoriously took handouts and didn't pay them back. But Ford and GM all paid theirs back. Actually, it was pretty shocking. Ford, I think GM paid theirs back early because there was like a huge, because people were, like, I guess people were like, well, if I better buy a car now. So there was actually a huge surge of trucks and cars bought right when the crash happened, because people were like, well, I better get that car now. Oh, Ford didn't take the handouts. That's right. GM though. GM did. Echo Zoo is here. So anyway, fuck Ticketmaster. Fuck the government. Fuck You know, like, how do you feel? Do you feel like this is really shitty of Alice in Chains? What part of this is wrong? I mean, they weren't buying Balenciaga belts for $500 or throwing themselves $1 million, $80,000 and $1 million birthday parties. I think it sucks that they didn't help their friend more, and then he died. But I don't know if this is the worst thing I've ever heard of. Does this sully your opinion of Alice in Chains? Are they scumbags now? People have hated Metallica since Napster. Turns out that Lars was right about Napster. I will do a future video where I prove that Lars was right about Napster. 99% of it. The 1% is they should not have threatened to chase down the fans. But 99% of everything Lars did, he predicted the future. That dude should play the fucking lotto. Music was devalued. Artists don't get paid. Music stealing led to music devaluing and led to Spotify. The guy who was a programmer at a hacker and a programmer at the Pirate Bay and at Napster now is the CEO of Spotify. Get fucked. Yeah, they were out of touch. Not how, I mean, they already were rich. You're not wrong. What does it really cost them? Tammy Hester is here. Alan is here. B is here. What does it really cost them? What did it really cost Metallica? Nothing. But it's the principle, right? But they were right. That's the problem. They were right, though. I love Spotify. I use Spotify all the time, but I also use other things. I love Bandcamp for a long time until they turned out to be sold to Epic Games and busted the union there of a local business to me. I live in San Francisco, and I wanted to work there. They're in Oakland. So they have a store. I've never stepped foot in it because I don't want to spend my money with them, even though I want to support underground artists, and they give a big cut to bands. There's a new service. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. I'll link it in the description called AmpWall that is aimed and positioned to be the Bandcamp killer. They're cheaper if you're an artist. Don has a record coming out. You should pay attention to this, Don. Get on AmpWall and pay like $10 a year instead of like $25 a month to Bandcamp. Consider it. So, it is the music business. It's not the music friendship. I don't blame Alice in Chains for paying themselves. The record labels were getting away with murder too. They were the real problem that drove the downloading. 100%, my friend. 100% agree, Ian. You're very bright. Why were CDs like $23 when they first came out and $18? And, this is the reason the CD, the MP3 rose because the CD was too expensive. Why did people want to get pirate music in the first place? Because they could, and because CDs were a fortune. I'm sure a lot of you still owe a lot of money to Columbia House, as did I. But I really would like to hear from everybody. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you. And artists were not getting most of that. That is correct. It was all markup. And a lot of artists signed terrible deals where their masters never come back to them and they're owed for life. If you watch our upcoming video on the top vinyl reissues of the year, one of the things I try to call out when I can is a band that got their masters back from their original label to put it out on another label. Or if a label acquired that band's catalog or they sold their catalog, in the case of Alice in Chains, which is why you got 2 Alice in Chains reissues this year, and you will probably get more in the future. I don't really buy, if I have a good press and a reissue of something, like I'm not going to buy another version of Dirt when I already have a good version of Dirt that's rad and sounds great. Why would I buy one more? I love the band and I would like to keep giving them money. But if you feel personally cheated, wronged, angry, Alice in Chains is evil. How can they take this money? Citizens didn't even get this kind of money. And they put it in their pockets, but they didn't earn that much money for 2 years when they couldn't tour. I don't know. I don't know where I fit with it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good that they didn't help their friend that was dying. I think the overreaction to sharing they didn't say that set up by his partner. We are sharing Scott's GoFundMe. I guess people interpreted that they did the GoFundMe, but I don't think that's fair or accurate. So I don't know. How do you feel? Tell us how you feel. Tell us how you do. Tell us how you feel. Tell us what else you want to hear me talk about. I am going to do that Napster episode at some point, either as a live stream or a pre-recorded video. I'm working on the research now. TomHat99 is here. B is rejoined. Moonographer is here. Moonographer. That's a cool name, Moonographer. Do you shoot pictures of the moon? I once went to a metal festival in western Wisconsin, Northern Invasion. They only had it twice. And it was headlined by Alice in Chains and Tool. and Tool and A Perfect Circle and Pussifer all played that weekend. And I got to photograph Alice in Chains, and it was a disaster because Alice in Chains does not like to get photographed. Not to bag on them anymore than we already have this episode. Alice in Chains does not like to get photographed up close because Jerry is very self-conscious. That's why he's got that beard out now. But he's very self-conscious about his like turkey giblet neck. Blah, 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 blah. And Ian McLean says, I feel like the AIC boys are so stand-up. I have a hard time believing this was their idea. In the first place, personally, I would wait for a response from the band. I want to see a response from the band, and if they give one, I will come on. Shinedown has also not made a comment. Lil Wayne has not made a comment. Chris Brown is a fucking wife beater, and I hope he dies a horrible death. I don't care if Rihanna forgave him. Fuck that guy. Dillinger Compound, who is the authority on all things Dillinger Escape Plan universe, Greg Puciato. It's Puciato, right? I've heard it. Jerry called him Puciato in an interview, and I was like, what the fuck? But I think it's Puciato. I met Greg. I should have just asked him. Greg Puciato said in an interview with Andrew Hogg from Australia, do whatever you can to retain the Masters theme music. 100 fucking %. And if you want to get any Greg music, Greg's solo album, The Black Queen, one of my favorite fucking projects ever, anything else he's worked on, go to his label, federalprisoner.com, and buy all his shit. I think we're going to get a new Black Queen next year on top of other stuff, more Better Lovers and other things. They're already writing the next Better Lovers album. And Greg will sing back up on all of Jerry Cantrell's solo tour. And Alice in Chains is supposed to hit the studio and start writing and creating a new record for 2026. Yeah, Ian, right before you showed up, I mentioned earlier, we've interviewed William Duvall here on the channel. I'll link it in the rebroadcast on YouTube, and I'll share it in the description for everybody else. And William is wonderful, and he's got a huge, long history of being an upstanding person in the music business. He is a punk rock legend. He had a #1 R&B record as a producer in the 90s for Dion Ferris of Arrested Development. He had a very successful career with Comes With the Fall, which became how Jerry got Comes With the Fall to be his backing band, and then ultimately picked William to be his singer. He could have picked anybody else. He could have picked a celebrity person. He picked William. William is fucking wonderful. I love Alice in Chains. I love the Alice in Chains Williams with Lane. Lane is one of my heroes. I love Alice in Chains with William. He's done a wonderful fucking job. And I don't think they're bad guys. DJ the Juggalo is back. Milkman is here. So, yeah, we're just discussing Alice in Chains, and if you think they're horrible people because they took money that maybe had no expectation of getting paid back and they pocketed it, they didn't do right by their friend that died, that had an illness. They should have just gave him some big payout of money. It probably could have helped his family. Maybe they donated privately. You don't know. It's hard to know. It's hard to know what people do with their finances, but the boldness of like Lil Wayne and Chris Brown to share what they spent the money on and just give a full accounting. Mystery women. I love that. Business Insider. Catty as fuck. They are, like I said, I didn't love everything they used in terms of the language of there was no charges. No one has been charged. It just looks, it looks like impropriety. It looks bad. Rand Paul's a cocksucker. Straight out. He's an arch cocksucker. Do not trust this fucking guy. Again, so he has his annual Festivus complaints thing where he makes himself look very official. I did all these meetings and committees. What did you do to fix it, though? Nothing. Year after year, just like his dad. Year after year, I did nothing to fix it. Fuck off. We need a clean sweep in all of politics. Every politician over 60, get the fuck out of here. It's not representative of the country anyway. Especially these geriatric motherfuckers who are hundreds of years old. Get the fuck out of here. Mitch McConnell, Glitch McConnell's like... Blah. Puciato. Italian, right? Yeah, Puciato. But I heard Jerry literally in a he did the Metallica podcast, one of the very first ones, and he called him, oh, my backup singer, Greg Puciato. I was like, what the fuck? What? I can't even believe what I'm fucking hearing. Anyway. Anybody else got any comments, questions for the guy right here? I might do another one of these tomorrow. Giants suck, so I have no problem doing a football Sunday. Ron Paul did everything he could. Ron Paul is fucking deplorable. He is a pro-life delivery room doctor. Go fuck yourself, bro. Not you personally. I've never liked those guys. And honestly, libertarian is a very flimsy slope in terms of trying to be righteous. A very flimsy architecture politically and financially. Ron Paul was the only guy with integrity in the building, like Thomas Massey. Not a fan. Sorry. Disagree. Agree to disagree. Ian, you're cool in every other respect, and you're allowed to believe what you believe. My beliefs, I like to consider myself left of Jesus and Castro. Don't, like other people, don't have to agree with me for my beliefs to exist. And I don't deny your beliefs, even if they run counter to me. I have friends of all across the political spectrum. And we are going to hell in a handbasket as a country. Megaton Leviathan is here. Great fucking account. Great people. Great band. Yeah, not a fan. The boomers have to go. They're dying off anyway, but they need to go faster. Faster. Yeah, pal. Yeah. You're good, man. You're good. Again, I'm one of the more fair people you'll ever meet in this game. As I said at the top, which you missed, I got a journalistic background. T. Delgado's here. Shout out to Luigi, Healthcare for All. Yo, and, ask yourself why the whole country rallied behind this rich kid that murdered a CEO to make a statement. Didn't care about his life and almost got away with it, too, if it wasn't for those meddling kids and those snitch bitches at McDonald's. I'm snitching on you. I'm good for jingles. I'm good for a little singing. I did a little singing earlier. It's a bummer. I do love this band, and I listen to them daily. Like every day, they're in the rotation. Ian McLean says there are two types of libertarians. The problem with the Kochs and the Cato Institutes, the Beltway libertarians, as we call them, by the way, is a long tradition of left libertarianism. That is true. Not lately. Not much anymore. I miss Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan, at least I knew where he stood. He was mistaken about Rage Against the Machine being down with him. But, when he pulled up stakes and quit politics, basically, to become a lobbyist, you knew the country was heading in the wrong fucking direction. The Tea Party and MAGA are a cancer. The Democratic Party is a cancer right now. They need a complete clean sweep. They don't even understand why they lost. That's why they're stupid. But that's all I'm going to say. I am a classic liberal. That's how I see myself. That's how I vote. And, we are fucked completely in the short run, but in the long run, we'll be okay. And I appreciate having this community where we can have a discourse and people are not blowing me up in the comments. Again, unlike Finn McKenty, I can take criticism. I have been dogged personally, outwardly, publicly, as well as privately in the comments. So this fat fucking beardo. People used to complain that I used to do band interviews in person in my battle vest because that's what I wore every day of my life for years, my battle vest. I mean, my personality is a lot more than just being a metalhead, but at the show, I was wearing my vest all the time. It was a part of my attire, daily attire. Instead of a hoodie, I would take a vest. I don't wear it out that much anymore because there's just not that many opportunities. And I think I'm probably going to go to less concerts in 2025 because I need to slow down a little bit and focus on my healthcare and other things. But, 200 Compound, there's more where he came. And I think the Justice Department and the FBI know that. Oh, dude. Make CEOs afraid again. I've known a couple of CEOs. I know a couple of billionaires, and I mean, not close anymore, but I worked very closely with some billionaires. I used to work for one of the worst travel companies in the world. My second job in social media as a social media manager and strategist was at a company in Boston that did European river cruises. Imagine like Viking river cruises, but shittier. And this guy was like the last generation of uneducated street dudes. He used to like break a knife off and jab people for their money in Boston, in South Boston. He was like a literal fucking Whitey Bulger type of guy. And he was monstrous as an owner, as a boss. He used to insist that he knew everybody else's job. And he used to berate us and we'd have meetings where he would just fucking scream all day. We would sit in a meeting for 8 hours and barely get any work done while he screamed at everybody at how ineffective and bad they were. And he once said to me, he's like, let me ask you a question. What kind of degree do you have? I was like, I have a master's degree in advertising and digital marketing. He's like, can you get any of that money back? I was like, oh, You think that hurts me? Did you know my dad? You didn't. My dad got chunks of guys like you in his stomach. Ian McLean says, here's what Ron Paul was right on. The Federal Reserve is the problem. Not going to disagree with that. It's the root of the wealth inequality, the root of privatization, probably, the root of the consolidation in the industries. Not going to disagree totally with that. But also a flat tax and no taxes at all make the country not run. So there has to have some kind of income scale. I think I'm perpetually against the flat tax. Trump's tax law is going to come back in. He didn't completely rewrite the Obama era tax laws, and Biden did not rewrite the Trump tax laws. They stayed basically the same with a few changes at the top on the richest Americans. So I suspect Trump's not going to do too much. Trump's not going to do too much. He's just getting the bag for his kids. And he's probably going to die in office, I'll be honest with you. He seems really unhealthy. And I say that as a person that struggled all year with my physical and mental health. But he seems very ill. And I hate to think of Vance as the president because he's basically a tool of Elon and Peter Thiel. Horrible, horrible, horrible consequences we're going to have. But, you know, my man told us all. My man warned us there. You're not going to solve it with high tax rates. Not with this massive tax code and all the exemptions. We'll see. I didn't do particularly better the last few years. But again, 3 years ago, I had an almost 6-figure salary. And then I've been like making less and less money over time since then. And it's pretty dry right now for my whole industry, which is pretty scary. But luckily, I have some consulting work. But it's bad. I don't know. Like, you know, you could tax the highest 10% of Americans and they wouldn't even notice the money is gone. It's just greed at a certain point. Like, you know, you judge a society on how you treat its weakest members. Japan has been in a nonstop financial crisis for 30 years. Volbeat Rocker, what's up? But doctors make $1 million. No one gets turned away. They have free health care. Everyone has like a year of maternity and paternity leave, and their society continues to flourish. Why can't we do that? We have every advantage, all the money, all the resources, and we're not fucking fixing anything. We're barely getting by. And New Yorkers are mad about 25 more cents on the train or the bus. Realistically, it hasn't gone up in over a decade and a half. But at the same time, their service is getting worse and worse and worse, and they're being asked to pay more for the same bad service. I feel bad for them. I'm a former New Yorker and a New Yorker at heart. This has been a fun and lively conversation. Cornflakes and hot sauce. That is a bad combination, but I like your screen name on Instagram. Paul ZS is here with the awesome cool emoji. Spuds McKenzie. For real? For real? For real? Chad Johnson, 21. I thought Ocho Cinco were 85 or 88. You know, these are problems that are bigger than us. Sending billions to Ukraine. Well, again, I'm down with one. I'm not down with the other completely. And I think we have to rethink our strategic alliances and our, you know, literally on day one, Trump's going to pardon all the terrorists and insurrectionists from January 6th, who should all be locked up for life, including that rat, John Schaefer of Iced Earth, who put out a Christmas song with Matt Barlow. Good for him. And, you know, Ukraine, they put up a great, valiant fight for 3 years. They're fucked because he's going to give Russia whatever they want. Trump's going to give Russia the aid we've been giving Ukraine, and they're going to stomp out Ukraine probably not right away, but it's quickly becoming like a Vietnam situation where we can't, you know, it's just not solvable. And you have to understand that war powers money and the military industrial complex comes from Congress, and the president can only guide policy and suggest policy. They don't make the policy. And big business has their fucking grubby hands in it. They want all the minerals and oil and things that Ukraine has. And I'm telling you, Russia's not going to stop with Ukraine. They're going to go for Poland. They're going to go for the Baltics. They're going to go for all the stands. It's fucked. You cannot let this guy as a maniac, Putin. We cannot allow. I don't want America necessarily having a not America first policy. We need to have an Americans first policy. Not a ghost is here. But you just can't fucking let Russia run roughshod over all of, you know, Eastern Europe and Asia. Just fuck no. You just absolutely can't let them be unimpeded. Because we're next. We're going to be next. And let's face it, we have Russian operatives in our government, like Tulsi and probably Jared Kushner. Yeah, I'm aware of who Scott Horton is. I'm good, man. Anyway, I'm gonna call it here because I need to head on to some other things. But this has been amazing. Again, if you're watching this on a rebroadcast, if you've been watching quietly and you didn't want to participate, drop a comment and let us know if Alice in Chains is to blame or is it not their fault. I'm not saying they're, maybe the system enabled them to do this, but also, is this the worst thing anyone could do? I think what they did to their guitar tech, Scott, is worse than the money they pocketed. Well, Russia has bombs and Russia has a crazy premier. So I know they're broke. The rest of the world has been in dire straits financially. There's going to be I will end with this rather than debate ideologies. There's a class war coming. This United CEO murder is 100% the first Molotov cocktail in a class war. It's going to cut across lines and it's going to go badly for those in power and those with money. And, for real. I don't disagree. But this is not the administration that's going to fix it, especially with Elon and people like them in charge. It's just fucked. You picked a billionaire class and a bunch of other people for the cabinet position. They will all be out of a job in 9 months or less. Elon in 3, probably, or less, even if Trump owes him his election. And this is definitely not the administration to fix the major issues. I will hope sanity is restored in 4 more years, just like the last time. Anywho, I am Keefe from GhostCultMag.com. If you enjoyed this at all, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. I will be back on probably tomorrow, and then Monday you will be checking out our 2024. What we really do is metal and not political discourse, even though I'm pretty knowledgeable. And I've been literally politically active since I'm a child because my parents were local political activists in the Bronx, New York. But thank you for watching. Thanks. Check out GhostCultMag.com. Check us out on our socials. Watch our other videos on YouTube. And thanks for being here. And yep, it's all good, man. It's all good, Ian. Ian, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. It's all good. I don't mind the detour. I entertain the detour, pal. That's what we do. I'm verbose. My partner says I like to pontificate, maybe for better or worse. I love it. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Mike, I'm looking at you. Are you being an asshole? I think you are. Fuck Elon, bro. You're all lost. All you tech bros and crypto fascists are fucking lost. This dude is bad news, and you're going to find out how bad. But anyhow, thanks for watching. Somehow not demonetized or shut down or having cops bust down my door. Y'all have a good night. Thanks. Stay metal. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.